experience where I said to myself, you know what, I'm going to, for once, just do something that I'm good at, that I love. And I started this photography business. And I've actually proved that you can do something that you love and make a living at the same time. And that's just opened up huge horizons. And it's something that I'm really passionate about sharing with other people, because we all know that, like, there's just tons and tons of people that hate what they do every day, but they're just trying to survive, you know, in the economy. And so let me go back up just a little bit before I started this photography business. For those of you that are seeing the screen, that creature under that yellow kayak and those people to the right are indeed dancing 2 feet from the edge of about a 30-foot cliff. So it's just really cool what I get to do. And so I had the experience of being a missionary for my church for 2 years in France. And in France, in the Paris area, there are tons of people from Africa. And so as I served these people, I gained a love for the African people. And when I came home to do my studies, I really wanted to do something to help those people. And so I was taking a class, and I learned about what's called microcredit. Microcredit is a really awesome way to solve the problem of poverty in the world. What it is you just give really small loans to little micro entrepreneurs that have small businesses. Now, in a lot of third world countries, the economy is really informal. So people sell chickens and goats, and they hawk fruit, and they weave baskets, and they do all kinds of things like that. So they're actually real businesses, but these people have a huge problem because they need money to run their business, but there's no way a bank is going to give these people a loan. And so microcredit is where you extend credit to poor people, and it's allowed like millions of people to get out of poverty around the world. So now there's tons of microfinance institutions all over the place. But I was learning about this as a 21-year-old man, got my whole life in front of me. What am I going to do? And I found my calling. I was going to be involved with the nonprofit world. I was going to do microcredit, and I was actually going to start a nonprofit organization. That was going to be my life's work. And so I had a mentor that was in the business school, and I was telling him all about my plans, and he said, whoa. Dan, this is ridiculous. Do you want to have a family someday? I said, yeah, sure. He's like, well, how are you going to support them? I said, well, I'm going to be on staff in the nonprofit that I create. And he says, oh, really? And you think people want their donation to pay for your rent and your car and your family vacation? I said, well, I mean, yeah, that's how it works. He's like, no. And so I kind of realized he had a point. And I was at a crossroads where there's this mutually exclusive choice, you know, staring me in the face of is like, I could either do something for the world and make a difference, or I could like do something that would allow me to take care of myself. And it hurt. It hurt really bad because I so wanted to make a difference, and my heart was in it. But I had to completely throw that to the side and let it go. And I decided to pursue business, to become a millionaire so I could be a philanthropist and maybe at some point in the future make a difference in the world. And I have never really let that go, and that's been in my heart for all these years. But recently I've kind of revisited this, and I started asking myself some questions. And one of the main questions I asked the problem with the thing in the past, 15 years ago, was it was the nonprofit model that I was trying to use to make a difference but also support myself. And so the question I ask myself now is, well, why does this have to be a nonprofit thing? And the answer is in a movement that's happening in our world right now called social entrepreneurship or social enterprise. And social enterprise, a really easy way to explain social enterprise is it's a for-profit company that has the heart and the purpose of a nonprofit. And so a good example but there's some advantages to a social enterprise, which is that instead of asking for donations, you can actually create your own money by selling goods and services that solve a social problem. So these are all some cool social enterprise logos here. One of them that everybody pretty familiar with is Tom's Shoes. And for those of you that don't know about Tom's Shoes, every time you buy a pair of their shoes, they donate a pair in another part of the world. Now, this guy up here in the top left, his name is Blake, and he's actually the founder of Tom's. Tom's is not his name. It's for Better Tomorrows. And when he was on vacation in Argentina, he saw these children with infections and cuts and blisters and no shoes. And he's like, oh, we got to do something about this. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'm going to start a nonprofit. And he had this idea to start a shoe charity. But then he started thinking about it, and he's like, you know what? I'm only going to have as much reach as I can get people to donate to this. And I'm going to obviously start with my family and friends, and then it's going to kind of dry up, and it really wouldn't have that much impact. What if we could start a shoe company and be able to do a lot more good? And Tom's, just something really cool that happened last year to Tom's is half of their company was acquired by Bain Capital, which is Mitt Romney's old company, for $600 million. So they're doing stuff on the scale of hundreds of millions of dollars. And there's no doubt that they've put more shoes on little kids' feet from having a for-profit business instead of a shoe charity where they're getting donations than they could have, going the old nonprofit model. So there's a lot of problems with the nonprofit model, and this is why social enterprise is really, really coming into age. And the Harvard Business Review actually was talking about social enterprise, and they said social enterprise will become the most dynamic business model of this millennium. And there's a lot of things that show that. Now, the reason that Tom's was talking to Bain Capital was because they wanted to do even more good. And so now they have this thing where you can buy their eyewear. They do glasses now, and every time you buy a pair of their sunglasses, somebody in a third world country gets their vision restored. How cool is that? So this is what you can do. One guy on vacation just wanted to make a difference, and he created a social enterprise that has impacted literally millions and millions of people and put shoes on their feet and is now bringing vision to them. And so this is the kind of reason why when I was 21 years old, getting excited about microcredit, that I seeing this kind of thing, it just gets you excited to want to do something. But the problem is that we all have to work, right? We have to make a living, and most of us aren't philanthropists. And so, it seems that only philanthropists are the ones that really get to be the real players in this arena. They're the ones with millions of dollars that can donate to this charity model, right? And that charity model kind of excludes the rest of us that don't do that because we have to work for a living, right? And so what I see is a big waste of the potential of the hundreds of thousands of people that could make a difference but just don't happen to have these hundreds of millions of dollars. So if we're going to solve large social problems, we are going to have to innovate. And that means tapping in to what everyday people can do besides just donate small amounts of money to their favorite charity. And that's what the I Inspire movement is all about. Not everyone, this kind of goes into the second question is, can I do this? Well, not everyone, can start a business like Tom's, right? I mean, it's challenging to have a full-on enterprise, right? And Tom's doesn't let you participate in its model other than as a consumer, right? Like, can you imagine if every time you told someone about Tom's and someone bought Tom's because of your recommendation, Tom's paid you? Like, there'd be a lot more people wearing Tom's, right? That they don't let you do that. So the I Inspire movement does, okay? And so just I want to talk to you right now about so we're all about being able to make a difference while you make a great living. And more than ever, people want their work to be meaningful. You guys, everybody, is talking about this millennial generation because they know that this is a powerhouse generation. One, marketers want to capture all that market and that energy because these people are, they're young and they're going to be around for a long time. And millennials, if there's one thing I would say it classifies millennials, is they want their work to be meaningful. And so what the I Inspire movement does is there is this untapped opportunity that awaits an organization to lead the charge in this dynamic new model for change, and I'm talking about social entrepreneurship, by laying a doable, rewarding financial opportunity that produces social good before this giant-hearted generation, the millennials, to watch them rise up and change the world with it. This is something where anybody can make a huge difference in the world and make an excellent living doing it. And so we're going to go into our model, but before we do that, I just want to talk about one other company that's a really cool company. And what they do is they sell instead of shoes, they sell what we call Cause apparel. Okay, this is not the I Inspire movement. This is another company, and what they do is they donate $7 of every sale to the partner, a charity they partner with each week. So they've been doing this for only 4 years, and they've donated $4 million to charities, which is pretty cool. But what they don't do is they don't offer these T-shirts on a subscription. So they're starting from zero every week. So we've kind of taken this model, we've taken the social enterprise movement, and we've created something really powerful and really special. So what we
Daniel,
do, yeah.
Talking about that, we actually just had Brian Hazelgren jump on the line.
Awesome.
And so we want to be we're grateful that he's able to jump on tonight.
Yep.
Real quick, what we're getting to is that every month we're going to partner with a different organization, and through these T-shirt sales, we're going to raise money for that organization. And so I wanted to turn, not to cut you off, Daniel, but we
Sure.
want to be.
Let me just do this. Let me just tie the model together just real quick, and then we'll turn the time over to Brian. Okay.
Perfect.
So for those of you that see it on your screen, so what we do is every month of the year we pick a different cause, whether it's child starvation, the cause Brian's going to tell you about in just a second, and then we pick a cause, and then we partner with a charity or a nonprofit that specializes in that cause. Then we create a really cool fashion T-shirt design that represents that cause, and at the end of the month, we donate 10% of all of the revenue that we did that month and give it to the partner charity. And then what makes it really special is as soon as we give them the check, we send in a film crew that actually shows the good they did with the money. And then we create an inspiring video that goes back to everybody that bought the shirt, so they get to see how that little shirt actually made a big difference in the world. And so we're really excited about the next cause. We're going to be, our first cause was child starvation with a fabulous organization called Feed My Starving Children. We're going to be funding those guys through the 15th of this month. And then after the 15th of the month, we're going to be working with the new cause that I'll let Brian introduce, and Brian's organization will be our new partner charity. So I want to welcome Brian Hazelgren of Go Vets. Take it away, Brian.
Thank you, Daniel. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
I hear you.
Wonderful. Well, first of all, I want to thank you for letting me take a few minutes to express our gratitude and what we are doing at our foundation with our veterans. And second of all, I want to apologize for being late. I was doing a training session, and we had about 75 veterans in the room, and lots of questions that took a little bit longer. So I apologize to everyone for jumping on the line a little late here. But nonetheless, let me explain a little bit about what we do at Go Vets Foundation. We started this foundation several years ago, 3 years ago actually, to be a beacon for our veterans community and also our first responders and our active duty military personnel. The reason why we did that is I had a couple of my nephews that had come home from serving in the military in 3 different branches of the military, and all 3 of them had said that they were concerned because when they got home they couldn't find a job. They were trained in different areas in the military that wouldn't allow them to really find the type of work that they'd been trained on for several years. So they asked me if I would be able to utilize a system that I created for a university in entrepreneurship. It was the curriculum, it was the degree, it was full-on competitions. It was a fun an amazing ride for 10 years, and they asked if they could use that so they could start their own company. And I said, absolutely, let's get you started with your own businesses, and we did that. And another nephew said, well, I'm not ready to start a business, but I do need to find work. So we created a foundation to help train and educate veterans in entrepreneurship, starting a business, or growing their existing business. We have a scholarship fund. And then we also have our third pillar, which we call our job creation pillar. We work with a lot of partners, including many governmental agencies and corporate sponsors who are looking to get veterans back into the workforce and help them get hired and find jobs. So we work very closely with a lot of organizations to help find jobs for our veterans. That's kind of it in a nutshell of what we do at our foundation. But nonetheless, when I go through a training session like I just came from, I realize just really how important not only entrepreneurship is, but also being actively involved in a cause where we all can be passionate about it and also be the type of organization that can provide the tools and the resources and even the camaraderie to allow our veterans to come together, really find balance in their life and find that next level of success that they're looking for. We owe them a debt of gratitude for the service that they have rendered, plus their family members who have sacrificed and supported them. And so when Daniel and Sam told us about the I Inspire movement, we got very excited and said we definitely want to get behind that. That looks like a program that will not only raise funds for our foundation to help us as we go along our mission, but it will also help create new business opportunities, which fits our other pillar in helping veterans start their own business that they can be proud of, that they can get behind, and that they can also create a nice income stream for their families. So all of those
Brian,
things tied together, we were very excited about that.
Yeah, I'm glad you touched on that because I was going to ask you, how do you see the I Inspire movement and Go Vets, as that partnership going on beyond the cause of the month, and I'm glad you touched on that this is going to be a possible revenue stream for these people going through your program. Is maybe would you say as a program you endorse?
Oh, absolutely. If you think about our three pillars, training and education to help them start a business, scholarships, and then job creation, well, our whole focus initially was to help veterans start their own company, and it still is part of our focus. And so when we have an opportunity to put in front of our veterans and their spouses an opportunity where they can create an income stream for their family based on a program like I Inspire movement and a cause like Go Vets Foundation together, that as they're passionate about both and it creates an income stream for them, we absolutely want to endorse that and let as many veterans know that this opportunity is available for them to grow a business of their own that they can be proud of.
That's awesome. Such a cool company that you've created and program. We do truly owe a debt of gratitude to our servicemen and first responders. We really appreciate you being on the call tonight. We sent out an email. We sent out an email to everybody that was a Q&A form. Not sure if everybody saw that, but if you guys have any questions for Brian about Go Vets or about the I Inspire movement, you can definitely fill out that form. We'll open this up for some Q&A for a couple minutes. I'm not really sure how to run a Q&A on this, but let's see. So we're going to go ahead and unmute everybody. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go by phone number, and if you have a question for either Daniel or Brian, feel free to answer it. We're going to take about 10 to 15 minutes for this just because we want to be respectful. We said we'd be less than an hour. We're going to start with 0969. I think that's Renee.
It is Renee. Hi, Brian. How are you?
Hi, Renee. How are you?
I'm good. I really don't.
Not at all. I've never done that.
All right, Renee, you're unmuted.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I really don't have any questions. But thank you so much for being here and sharing what you do with us. We're so excited to partner with you.
Well, we are just as excited, and we appreciate the opportunity and the honor to put this opportunity in front of a lot of veterans.
All right,
awesome.
Thanks, Renee. We're going to go with let's see, 4777. Let me unmute you. All right.
Hi, guys. It's Vicki. Daniel, actually, I think my question is for you. Hi, Brian. How are you?
Hi, Vicki.
Hi. Okay, so Daniel, my question for you is the social entrepreneurship. I know that we are all called social advocates, but do you know what the definition of being a social entrepreneur is? Is Daniel unmuted?
Oh, let me unmute Daniel. Now he's unmuted.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was just saying.
Share with us the definition of social entrepreneur.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of different definitions. There's, you could define it, but the general sense of a social entrepreneur is somebody that sees a social problem and uses the principles of business to solve that social problem, and that creates profits. That those profits are used to solve a social problem. And so basically the opportunities for social entrepreneurs is the pain in the world. And so these people take resources and principles of business and the activities of their business solves the social problem either by directly or by the profits they create that are envisioned towards solving social problems.
So you would consider it, you would say pretty much like you're making a living to make a difference.
Yeah, but it doesn't necessarily have to be making a living. But you could, because you're running it like a business, and people that are working are in a business need to be sustained by that business. So that's another component of social enterprise is it's sustainable, right? A nonprofit will dry up if donations stop, but a business can create profits and sustain itself.
Right, got it. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks, Vicki.
Good
right,
question.
We're gonna go with 1400.
That's me, Nicole.
Nicole, do you have any questions
Nicole.
for Daniel or Brian?
Daniel, I think.
Hi, Nicole.
Okay.
Hi. Okay, so our question was, I'm not sure if this makes any sense or not, but if I wanted to join this and I do the monthly subscription where I get a share every month and that money goes to the charity, if for 1 month for some reason there was a charity that I didn't want that money to go towards, is there a way to opt out of it or have that money go to a different charity? Or is it kind of like if you do the monthly subscription, it just automatically goes so you don't really have a say? Like, could you opt out?
So right now, we're just launching the company, and so we envision some flexibility like that like a little further down the road. But what we're going to do actually is we're going to be publishing on the website we're going to slate all the causes coming up for the whole year, and so my hope and my guess is that there wouldn't be a cause that people would not want to support. I mean, I don't know if that's really the best way to answer your question. But right now there's not really a way for you to opt out. So I don't know if that really answers your question. I don't know if that was the answer you're looking for, but the causes that we have, they're not really they're kind of universal causes. So there's nothing controversial that people there's a big social division about. I think we can all agree that it's good to support the cause of hungry children. So there's going to be causes like that. So I don't know if that will really be an issue, but for right now, there's not a way to say, hey, I want it to go to this cause or this cause, or you could always just cancel your subscription for that month, but that would put your commissions in jeopardy. So you probably wouldn't want to do that.
I think the better question is because I know the causes are good. It's just is that certain charity because some charities the money doesn't always go straight to the charity, kind of gets
And let me jump in here real quick. We will definitely be vetting out the charities And that is also the purpose of the video. You know, if there's a charity that isn't necessarily on par with their ethics, they're not going to really – they have to agree to allow us to send a film crew in before we partner with them. And if they've got things going on that they don't want to expose, they're probably not going to want to partner with us because we're bringing a film crew in to follow the money.
Okay, perfect.
Does that kind of make you feel better about it?
Yeah, it does. And then just one last question. When will that list be posted about? Is it just hopefully the list of
What was that?
charities? When will the list of charities be posted?
We will hopefully have that.
Yeah, the list of the charities will be. We're gonna post the causes themselves, and we're still vetting the actual organizations. But
okay.
I would say the organizations will be posted, like, I would say 3 months before that cause. Yeah. So.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Great question.
Thank you for answering them.
No problem. All right, we're going to go with 5788. Let me unmute you real quick. All right, 5788.
So
do you have any questions for Daniel Bryan?
Yeah, this is JR from Salt Lake, and I've got a question for Brian. So I have, if I know people that are veterans or that have families of servicemen or women, and, this Go Vet sounds like a really awesome organization that's going to be, the beneficiary of this movement right now. Would it make sense to get them involved in this movement and introduce them, or how do you recommend, can you give us a little bit of insight, on how this is going to benefit them and how you see the entrepreneurship of this reciprocating back to those families? I mean, would it make sense for me to introduce them into the iInspire movement and get them excited about this, and what kind of support would they get in that realm?
That is a great question, JR. I can answer it by saying this system that we've designed, I actually designed this system about 14 years ago, rolled it out at a major university, taught over 3,500 students, and helped them launch a little over 1,000 businesses. We've now done that with our veterans community, and the same type of system helps teach entrepreneurship. The iInspire movement is incredible for a charity standpoint to just receive a donation from iInspire just to say, hey, thank you for doing all the good things that you're doing. Here's the 10% of what we raised during the month through the sale of the subscriptions of the product. And that's amazing. But for us, we can take it a step further because we're teaching entrepreneurship. We're teaching veterans and their spouses and their family members the basic principles of starting a business. And so if we've already got an open mindset of the veteran and or their family member sitting in a classroom, and by the way, they stay with us for an entire year. It's 30 online courses that they take. It's boot camps that they take for a couple of weeks, and then it's 6 months of coaching. So when we have that entree into our veterans community, including the family members, and we're able to say, hey, by the way, here's an opportunity that you should be looking at because it's creating an income stream for other families. And by the way, it's also a pretty cool movement that is not just supporting our charitable cause, it's supporting other charities. Then it's a win-win scenario for that veteran and or their family member. So I'd say absolutely yes. It'd be great for you to tell them not only about the part of the brilliance behind of putting together a program that actually raises funds for the charity for that month, but in our particular case, it's really cool because we can tell people about not just the movement, but here's a business opportunity to create money for your family.
Wow, Brian, thank you. And just a follow-up question for Daniel on that topic. It would make sense then for all of us that are on this line as social entrepreneurs. Daniel, how open are you, as these causes are published, and we now know, there's a hunger initiative in December, the Go Vets in January, as you move to the other causes and those are published and then the charitable organizations will be attached to those, are you open to suggestions from social advocates and social entrepreneurs that are on this line? If we have people that are involved in these organizations Would you be open to the idea of us submitting those in for consideration?
Oh, 100%, absolutely, yeah. We want to work with charities that you have relationships with, that are dear to your heart, that you know some of the key people in them. That'd be awesome. Yeah, the way you can do that is send an email to advocatesupport@iinspiremovement.com, or you can call me. I give everybody my number. It's 858-945-5548. But I think it's in the email I sent everybody today too. So
great,
absolutely. And I will say one other thing, like about the charities. It's great for them to be the charity of the month and get that one-time donation. But that charity also has an opportunity to have itself as an entity be in the movement and actually be funded year-round, month after month, no matter what cause it is. So that's pretty cool too.
Great, thank you.
Cool. Thanks, JR. All right, we're going to go to 1009. You're unmuted if you have a question for Brian or Daniel.
I probably have more of a statement. My name's Jay Barton, and I've ran a few businesses, and as I've listened to this conversation, you see the openness and the honesty that is just portrayed in this organization. At the end of the day, it just makes me grateful that I'm able to sit on a phone call and see what this opportunity is, because it's got a lot of the answers that a lot of people are looking for to be able to make a difference in their life. And I like the openness and the honesty that's coming through in the conversation. So that's more of a statement. I don't necessarily have a question, except for I saw a model that Daniel showed me yesterday that showed where you could take $350,000 worth of a charity and how much more money they could create for that charity by putting it in a social enterprise model. So maybe that's something you want to mention a little bit. I don't know if we heard that tonight, because that was a pretty cool stat that I saw.
Oh, yeah.
With Dan Pelota, we'll definitely we'll send that video link out to everybody that's been on the call so they can kind of see that. It definitely, Jay, would you say it helped kind of shift your paradigm on how social business is done?
Well, yeah, it tells you that the charity programs is a great, organization, but if you can triple that money through products and services, you can just see where the future in America business is going. I mean, every Christmas holiday when you went to a Maverick here, they asked you for $1 in donation. And to be able to put that into a business opportunity is phenomenal. Love it.
Cool. Thanks, Jay.
Thanks,
all right,
Jay.
And then last one we have 1147. You're unmuted if you'd like to ask a question to Daniel or Brian.
Hi, this is Tina. Just a quick question as I'm sharing this opportunity. I'm getting some pushback on I'd like to support organizations, but if this is for profit and you guys are making money, I'm not so sure about it. So I know with the social entrepreneur, and you've spoken about, this is how we can take the profits and we can work this for that, but there's a lot of people that have that mindset that I want to just give my money to a nonprofit organization because I know where it goes to. So what are some of the ways that we could, tackle those?
Yeah, that's a really, really good question. And there's a couple different ways you can answer that. And I would say, yeah, by all means, continue donating to whatever nonprofit that you'd like to donate to. For some markets, there are no money measures that you can develop for, to create a market, right? For example, like human trafficking. Like how do you make a business out of, not that sounds bad, but how do you make a business around human trafficking, right?
Right.
So,
right.
So donating in that case sometimes the nonprofit model works. And I'm not saying the nonprofit model doesn't have a place. I'm just saying in a lot of cases, a social enterprise will have a lot more power to solve a social issue than a nonprofit. So there's that. But you have to remind people what we are. We're not a charity. we are a business and we have a cool product that brings awareness to different causes and actually funds those causes as well. So I would say, do both. Support us, create a movement by becoming a subscriber or joining the movement as a social entrepreneur, and continue to donate to charities as well. But they have to remember they're getting something when they give us money, because we're exchanging money for a product. It's not like they're making a donation. So I think that is first and foremost the major distinction, right? So like when you donate to a charity, like you just get a warm fuzzy, right? When you give money to us, you're buying a product and you get a cool T-shirt, which is a really high quality T-shirt. You also get a video that shows the impact of that shirt. So that's pretty cool. And so we're selling something, not taking donations.
Okay.
Daniel, this is Brian. Let me just add one more thing. Before we launched GoVets Foundation several years ago, I was the chief development officer for one of the largest children's charities in the world, and ran that with 85 amazing fundraisers on my team that worked with a lot of corporate sponsors. They were big names. One company donated $33 million to us pretty much every year. However, a company that's bringing in $500 billion a year, you'd think they would probably just taken that out of the corporate profits and donated that to the charity. Well, they didn't. They actually went out to their constituents. They went to their customers, they went to their vendors, and they went to their employee base. And that $30-plus million every year that was raised didn't come from the company. It came from the people that bought products from that company, and from the employees to the customers to the vendors. It would have been awesome if they would have said, okay, we bring in $500 billion a year. We're a very large company. We employ a lot of people. But if they would have just taken the same model and donated 10%, like my Inspire movement is doing, that'd be $500 million a year they would have donated. Well, it's taken them almost 24 years to reach that $500 million mark to donate in total. So the model that you all have built from a charity standpoint is amazing. And when you're giving 10% of your profits or 10% of the revenue, I don't know if it's profits or revenue.
It's revenue. No, revenue, Brian.
Revenue, 10%.
Yeah.
That is so huge. And all of our corporate sponsors that we dealt with, I still have them on my speed dial. They're CEOs of Fortune 100 companies. And I can tell you for a fact they would never consider donating 10% of their revenue. So I think that's a huge story that has to be told because I saw it firsthand. I mean, I was up to my neck in alligators sometimes and trying to raise money. And as a charitable cause, it's really difficult to raise money these days. So when a company comes out with a model that says we're going to take 10% of our revenue and donate that to a charity, that I'm telling you, that is huge. And I can't wait to see what the future looks like and the fundraising efforts, because like I said, it's not an easy task, as we all know that are on the phone that have tried to raise money for a charitable event or a charitable cause. It's not that easy. And so as a charity standpoint, we just view that as a huge milestone for a company to put a stake in the ground to say we are going to take 10% of our revenue and we're going to donate it back. That's an amazing story in itself.
Thanks, Brian.
Tina, does that help answer your question a little bit?
Yes, it does. Like I said, I'm really excited about this, and as I share, those are just some of the pushback that I'm getting. And I know I've spoken to one friend, and just is pretty close-minded, where I just now understand just like next person. But there are a lot of people that are interested, and unfortunately, they couldn't get on the call tonight. But if we have this recorded, then I can share it. This is a great.
Let me chime in real quick.
That's a great question, Tina. Thank you.
Hey, let me chime in real quick here on this issue, Tina. I actually just got off the phone. I had about an hour and a half conversation today with someone that is a brilliant marketer, and he works in messaging and how to put your message out there that way people can understand it. And after I shared kind of what we're doing, he brought up this exact issue that you brought up. And so we're aware of this, and I love the response Brian gave, because I haven't been able to articulate to people just how big 10% is, but for a company of revenue, that's huge, and he articulated that so well. But what I wanted to tell you is we're going to be working on this so we can give you even a better answer and a better way that we all can address this issue when it comes up. And so I appreciate the question and the answer we got from Brian, but just know that we're going to be working on our messaging and helping you guys answer these questions in the best way possible as well. So thanks for the question.
Great. Thanks.
Sambo?
Uh-oh. Sorry, I was muted. Hey, Tina, thank you so much for the question. And Brian, we really appreciate you being on the call. You as well, Daniel. We know you guys are all really busy, but we appreciate the support. And that's just kind of, what we just talked about is that how Daniel said, we're going to be working on these questions. We realize there's going to be some people that aren't, thinking the way we are. And where that last question of what support will I get, that's a perfect example of the kind of support you're going to get, is that we're going to have people that know how to message things so that we can overcome some of those pushbacks and barriers. And so can you do this? Yeah, we can all do it. Will you get the support you need? Absolutely. We're working with some of the most wonderful people in the industry. So Brian and Daniel, thank you for your time tonight. We will be doing another call like this next Wednesday. And we're going to make it 8 o'clock Mountain Standard. I think that'll be a little easier for people in California and Utah. And if we do one sooner than that, we will send out an email. And also, in that email, there was that link for the possibility Q&A form. If you fill that out, we can have these questions ahead of time. And we'll always do a Q&A at the end of the night. And we'll try to keep these calls to an hour. So, again, thank you, everybody, for being on the call. We'll email out this recording so you can send it to anybody that wasn't able to be on the call. And we'll talk to everybody next week, if not sooner. All right. Everybody have a great night.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks, Brian. Thanks, social entrepreneurs.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.